Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predicted 11 for Manchester United's game against Watford. Now I think Solskjaer will revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. In the last 3 games he's gone with that 3-5-2 formation. So in goal, I'm going to go with David De Gea. You know, De Gea, to his credit, has done really well so far this season. De Gea was in goal in our last game against Man City before the international break, and he saved Manchester United from an humiliation. De Gea made some fantastic saves in that first half against Man City to deny Jesus, De Bruyne, and he denied Cancelo twice. De Gea was partly to blame for Bernardo Silva's second goal. This season is De Gea's 11th season at Man United. He has been a long servant. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. He had a couple of years, De Gea, where he made a lot of mistakes, but he's made up from them mistakes so far this season. De Gea has got under 2 years left on his contract at Man United, and he receives £375,000 a week. He has won everything domestically at the football club. He's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back because in the summer De Gea decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place, and he said he's determined to fight for his Man United future. Now, at right back, I'm going to go with Wan-Bissaka. You know, he's had some good games this season, but he's also had some poor games. I thought he was poor in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. The defensive side of Wan-Bissaka's game is superb, but the attacking side of his game is not so good, and there is aspects of his game that I've got to improve. He's got to show more attacking intent, his positioning has to improve, and his crossing's got to improve a bit more. But despite that, I still think he's one of the best right backs we've had since Gary Neville. This season is his 3rd full season at Man United. We got Bissaka in a deal worth 50 million from Crystal Palace back in the summer of 2019. The 2 centre-backs, I'm going to go with Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. Victor Lindelof, as you all know, have got my strong reservations about him. Lindelof is not good enough to represent the club. I can't understand why Lindelof is ahead of Eric Bailly, because Eric Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. Lindelof's been at Manchester United for 4.5 years. We got Lindelof from Benfica back in 2017 for around £31 million. Harry Maguire, he's been very poor this season, and he's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle towards the end of last season. The best game I recall Maguire having so far this season was the 3-0 win against Tottenham, even though he got booked in that game. Manchester United overpaid for Maguire, got him for 80 million. So reflecting on that, he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the second most expensive signing at the club behind Pogba. At left back, I'm going to go with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw should be fit to play in this game. Shaw's recently had a concussion. He came off with the concussion in the 2-0 defeat to Man City, and he had to be replaced by Telles. Shaw was very poor in the 2-0 defeat to Man City, and he was the main culprit for Man City's second goal by Bernardo Silva. Shaw's been very, very poor this season. Where's the Luke Shaw from last season? Because last season, Luke Shaw was superb. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. The best game Shaw's had this season was the 3-0 win against Tottenham, despite him getting booked in that game. Shaw's been our first choice left back for a while, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Telles. He's been at Manchester United for 7.5 years, so he's been a very long serving player. He's got under 2 years left on his contract. Centre midfield, I'm going to go with Fred and Scott McTominay. Obviously, Fred and McTominay play a hell of a lot of games together. Obviously, they don't complement each other in the centre midfield. A lot of United fans have had a go at Solskjaer for persistently selecting Fred and McTominay. Fred, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club. Even though he has had his good games at Man United, but he's had a lot of bad games as well. Manchester United overpaid for Fred, got him in a deal worth 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I've got to make an admission regarding Fred. I thought he was an exceptional player during his time in Ukraine. And McTominay, I don't think, he's good enough to represent the club, even though he's had his good games at Man United. McTominay's been part of the club for a long time, and just after the first lockdown last season, he signed a new 5-year contract. McTominay has recently been out with a virus, by the way, but he should be, okay to play in this game. The attacking midfielder, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandez. Obviously, Bruno Fernandez played in the 2-0 defeat to Man City, and I thought he was very, very poor in that game. He looked sloppy, looked lost for ideas, and he gave the ball away countless times. Fernandez starts the vast majority of Manchester United's games. Yes, he's been consistent in a lot of games for Man United, but there's also been quite a few games where he's looked off the pace. He's one of the best signings we've made since Ferguson retired. He's been a Manchester United player for almost 2 years. We got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Fernandez has scored a lot of goals since he came in, and he's also provided a lot of assists. Last season, Fernandez got named Player of the Year, and he also got named Player of the Month a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Earlier on this season, Fernandez did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United. And when he first came to Man United, he said, "I've come to Manchester to win trophies." He's got a contract with the club till 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. The left wing, I'm going to go with Marcus Rashford. Rashford has done well in quite a few games since he's come back. But on the other side of things, there's been quite a few games where he's looked off the pace. Rashford did come on in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. He didn't do too bad, to be fair. At one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Rashford's been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So Rashford's been in our senior squad now for a good 5.5 years. He's got a contract with Man United till 2023. Most of the time now he does play on that left wing. We need to keep him on that left wing because that's where he's mostly effective. He's far superior on the left wing to the right wing and up top. On the right wing, I'm going to go with Mason Greenwood. Greenwood did play in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. He was actually playing alongside Ronaldo. And obviously the Greenwood and Ronaldo partnership doesn't work. And a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. To be honest with you, I thought Greenwood was one of our best players against Man City. Greenwood has scored, 4 goals in the league so far this season. He scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. At one point, Greenwood did go a while without scoring. But despite that, I think he's been a revelation since he broke into our senior squad. Greenwood made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, so he has been part of the club for a long time. And last season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. Most of the time now, Greenwood plays on that right wing, but that's where you get the best out of him. I'm not too keen on him up top. And he's certainly not good on the left-hand side. And the striker, I'm going to go with Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, Ronaldo played in the 2-0 defeat to Man City before the international break. And he was anonymous in that game because he got very little service. Ronaldo did have 2 chances in the game against Man City. The first chance was a volley, produced a good save by Edison, and the second chance produced a good save by Edison, but his second chance was offside anyway. Manchester United are relying on Ronaldo far too much. Ronaldo saved Solskjaer in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. Ronaldo netted twice in stoppage time at the end of both halves. He scored the winner against Atalanta at Old Trafford. He scored the winner against Villarreal earlier on this season. So there you go. Ronaldo scored 9 goals in all competitions so far since he re-signed. He's the best player in the world overall. Ronaldo's won 32 major trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. Not so long ago, he got named Player of the Month for October. So he's now got back-to-back awards because he got named Premier League Player of the Month back in September. He has got a contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week, so he's the highest earner at Man United at the moment. And he wears a number 7 shirt, and Man United got him for 19.8 million with add-ons included. So that's how I think Manchester United could line up against Watford tomorrow. As you all know, Man United have got injuries. Obviously, Varane, he's out with a hamstring injury. think he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. It's a second injury Varane has now got at Man United, by the way, because not so long ago he was out with a groin injury, and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Varane is a big miss for Man United. Obviously, Pogba is out with a thigh injury. He sustained the thigh injury the other week in France training. Pogba's going to be missing the rest of 2021. Even if Pogba would have been fit, he wouldn't have been able to play in this game anyway, because Pogba's still got one game to serve in the league out of the 3-match ban he got, because Pogba got sent off in Man United's 5-0 defeat to Liverpool earlier on in the season. Pogba may never play for the club again, because not so long ago it said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Pogba did play in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. His performance was poor, and reflecting on his poor performance, he got heavily criticised. Edison Cavani, he's out with injury until December. You know, he had an injury earlier on this season. And like I said, Luke Shaw has had a concussion, but he should be able to play in this game. And McTominay, he's recently had a virus. This game against Watford could be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last game in charge of Manchester United. Well, defeat to Watford will surely end Solskjaer's managerial tenure at Man United. You know, Manchester United are coming into this game having only won 1 of their last 6 in the Premier League. So we're in a bad vein of form. And Man United have had back-to-back home defeats to Manchester City and Liverpool. And Man United are 6th in the Premier League at the moment. Watford, they've been very poor so far this season. Watford are sitting 17th in the Premier League. So they're right near the relegation zone. Watford lost their last game to Arsenal 1-0. The last time Manchester United played, though, at Vicarage Road, Watford won 2-0. That was back in December 2019. Obviously, Watford's manager is Claudio Ranieri. They appointed him in back in October on a 2-year deal. At the time of the appointment, Watford were sitting 15th in the league. Ranieri is a pretty decent manager. He's managed a catalogue of clubs in his managerial career. Don't forget, when he managed Leicester, he won the Premier League with Leicester. Before Ranieri, Watford had Xisco, but obviously Watford ended up sacking Xisco. Watford have obviously got some injuries. Obviously, Christian Cabecele is out with injury. Peter Etebo is out with injury. Baha, he's out with injury. They've got a couple of other injuries as well. They've got a player suspended. That's Juraj Kuka. Watford have got some good players. Obviously, one of their key players is Ismail Assar. You know, he will be in contention to play in this game. Watford have also got Emmanuel Dennis. I think they brought him in this year's summer transfer window. They've also got Pedro. They've got Juan Hernandez. They've got Ashley Fletcher. Watford have also got Joshua King. You know, don't forget, he used to be at Manchester United. You know, Joshua King came through our academy. So if he plays in this game, he'll be reuniting with Man United. Watford have also got Tom Cleverley. He's another former Manchester United player. So if he plays in this game, he'll be reuniting with Man United. Watford have also got Dan Gosling as well. He used to be at Everton. They've also got Craig Cathcart. They've got Danny Rose and Sissoko. I think they got Danny Rose and Sissoko from Tottenham. You know, one of Watford's goalkeepers is Ben Foster. And obviously he's the former Manchester United goalkeeper. So there you go. And obviously Watford have let players go. You know, in this year's summer transfer window, Troy Deeney left Watford to go to Birmingham. Watford also offloaded Craig Dawson. He's now at West Ham. They also offloaded Isaac Success. They also offloaded Will Hughes. Watford loaned out Quinner and Andre Gray. So there you go. After Watford, Manchester United play Villarreal in the Champions League. That's going to be a massive game for Man United. And then after that, it's Chelsea. And Chelsea's another massive game. Now this morning, I give you some more news regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It said Solskjaer held crisis talks with his senior players, including Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandez, on Thursday, as he tried to salvage Manchester United's season and save his job. You know, Solskjaer is under pressure at Manchester United. It said not so long ago that Manchester United have made the decision to sack Solskjaer, but he could still remain in charge until the end of the season. Yesterday, reports came out and said that Solskjaer is refusing to quit Man United despite senior stars losing faith in tactics. Earlier on this week, Solskjaer returned to the Carrington training ground, because last week he was away in Norway after he granted his players a week off. Reports said earlier on this week that 8 Man United stars feel misled by Solskjaer with the broken promises he made to them during the summer. And last weekend, it said that senior stars want Solskjaer sacked. That was stemming from Duncan Castles. Now, when Manchester United do sack Solskjaer, they'll have to pay him around £7.5 million because in the summer he signed a new 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Now, on my recent video, I gave you the news on Zinedine Zidane. Apparently, Zidane is learning English so he can reject Man United. Well, Zidane has rejected the Man United job, as he's pretty much agreed to take the France job. Well, Zidane is not available until the summer because the Man United board have held talks with Zidane, and Zidane let the board know that he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment and he prefers to take a break until the summer. But reports have said that Zinedine Zidane is interested in the Manchester United job, but there was a problem because Zidane's wife is not attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. And Man United hoped that Zidane's close relationships with Ronaldo and Varane could have persuaded him to join. You know, Ronaldo said he wants Zidane at Man United. He's made that clear. But Zidane is managerless because he left Real Madrid in the summer. And you've got to admire what he did at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies at Real Madrid, so reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Zidane has not managed in the Premier League yet, so like I've said, it would be good for him to come and experience the Premier League. Brendan Rodgers, you know the news on him. Sky Sports and ESPN and that said yesterday that Brendan Rodgers distances himself from the Man United job. You know, Rodgers has said reports linking him with the Man United job are not true, and he's proud to be at Leicester. Well, it said the other day that Brendan Rodgers is ready to say yes to Man United if he's offered the job. You know, recently he was house hunting in Cheshire. But yeah, Rodgers is the favourite to replace Solskjaer. You know, the Manchester Evening News said the other week that Man United are ready to trigger Brendan Rodgers' contract clause if Solskjaer gets sacked. And earlier on in the season, he said Brendan Rodgers has already verbally agreed to become Man United's new manager, but his preference would be to wait until next season because he's reluctant to leave Leicester midway through the season. So obviously Rodgers is preferred to Zidane. Pochettino and Erik ten Hag have also been linked with a job at Man United. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.